You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to beautiful Florida in another episode of Till Death Do Us Scream. I'm, of course, Rob, and this is my lovely beach baby, Mayhem Mel. What's up, Mel?
What's up?
We wanted to do this remote from Florida. Thought it'd be the perfect opportunity to do so. And on top of that, it's actually the 50th anniversary of Jaws today. So it's a perfect time to do this.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So thank you very much for continued love and support. Please like, subscribe to the channel. Really do appreciate it. And, just do all the YouTube things, help us get out there. So, as we said before, we're going to be doing the Jaws 50th anniversary. This is the, basically, this is the linchpin for the summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
This is
It still holds up.
It still holds up.
It still holds up.
And it's also, it's like one of the first movies aside from Star Wars that had all these major tie-ins in terms of merchandise and stuff. They were putting out a 30-second trailer.
You're wearing merchandise right now.
I'm wearing Jaws now, yeah. But yeah, they were putting out merchandise for this, and they're putting out a 30-second trailer every week on every primetime channel. I mean, this was a big thing that they're trying to push. Obviously, it was based on Peter Benchley's novel. And, aside from maybe the fight at the end, there's probably 27 scenes of the book taken out.
Oh, wow.
Because that's what, Spielberg just wanted to focus on some of the bare bones stuff as opposed to, the more detailed aspects of it.
Right.
Let's talk about the production real quick, because it's really fascinating. The whole thing is actually really fascinating. There was tons of writers that were added to the screenplay. Peter Benchley put out a bunch, and I guess his didn't, cut muster when it came to his own thoughts on it. He was actually not very good at character detail when it came to screenplays. So Spielberg actually got a bunch of other people together, including comedy writers, people that have worked, on TV shows, movie screenwriters, pretty much everybody you can think of is added something to the mix of this particular project. Pretty much all the different aspects, for the project, have so many hands involved. And that also includes, just the casting as well. Originally the Hollywood producers, they wanted stars because obviously they want stars for everything. Originally Brody was going to be played by Charlton Heston, and Spielberg was like, there's no way. He's got too much of a presence and it just wouldn't work out. He wanted to go with smaller named actors. So Richard Dreyfuss had actually worked with, George Lucas on American Graffiti. Actually, Roy Scheider, of course, who played Brody, Chief Brody, he was in The French Connection. So, the whole thing with that was Spielberg was worried that he was going to play a tough guy. So Steven Spielberg kind of equates this role. Originally, he saw it as kind of a slasher film in the water.
It is.
But with his filming techniques and stuff, it actually feels more like maybe an Alfred Hitchcock project, more like a thriller than, say a Friday the 13th, with shark.
Right. They'd originally based this off of a concept of something that had happened with a tiger shark, not with a great white. But let's get this straight. Great whites, tiger sharks are more territorial, where great whites, they'll stay away from you, but they will attack. They are both man-eaters.
Yes. So one of the things that actually happened, when this movie became a massive hit, I think through inflation and, through the years, I guess the estimation was that the original Jaws made about $2 billion at the box office. Yeah, it was a huge hit.
Whoa, that's
Um,
crazy.
what really happened though was that just like The Exorcist, it really brought like true fear into people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
So like there was actual like there's things in psychology books where people like detail like certain things that happen because of seeing Jaws, like people waking up in the middle of the night and just yelling sharks, sharks, sharks.
Right.
It's really fucking terrified people. Like it terrified me when I was a kid.
Right.
I don't really care for the ocean all that much because of this movie.
I love the ocean.
And also, you know, like
I grew up around the ocean though, so
I was scared to get in the bathtub because I thought the drain was an eye for a long time. Yeah, this movie scared the fuck out of me. I don't want to get in the swimming pools or anything because of this movie. Yeah, but that's the horrifying aspect of this movie is because it was so successful and because it scared so many people. There were so many people that decided to just go off and like become shark hunters on their own and killed hundreds of sharks after this movie was done.
Oh, that's horrible.
And Benchley and later Spielberg had said, like, you know, I feel absolute guilt, you know, making this work of fiction, like, you know, something that was like ruining the ecosystem.
Oh wow.
That was not our position, and nor was it, you know, our intent for this to happen. As you said, you know, like great white sharks, yet, you know, although they are terrifying and they're huge, but you know, they are more docile than other types of sharks.
Yeah, the tiger shark is a lot more vicious.
Don't great whites only go after people if they think they're like seals or something?
I don't remember. I think like mostly if they feel threatened or if you're in their territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You know, so again, you know, this is the linchpin for like all the different copycat films that came out. You had Piranha, which Spielberg calls the best Jaws knockoff. And then you had Orca, and then you had all these, you know, different other things that came out throughout the years. Yeah, of course, you know, Sharknado, Shallows came out a few years ago, you know, and you know, like the shark genre is still going strong, and it would not be here without this movie.
John.
That's just the way it is, you know.
You gotta remember too, this movie took place in what, the 70s, the late 70s?
Yes. Yeah.
So let's get into the movie. So you start off the movie in the very beginning. There's a bunch of young people that are having a bonfire at the beach, and this guy is flirting with this girl, and she runs off, and they go. He's drunk and he can't keep up, and she's like, "Let's go swimming in the ocean."
Yeah.
Rips off all her clothes, and you know he passes out at the water's edge because you know he's drunk.
Yeah.
Homegirl is swimming in the water, and she.
We should also mention too that this is filmed. They call it Amity Island, but this is actually filmed in Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
So
basically, she gets attacked by the shark and she dies. The next day, they find her arm on the beach, and you know, the sheriff, which is Richard Dreyfuss, right?
No. That's
no.
Roy Scheider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The sheriff. He's like new to the town. He had just left like New York with his family.
Yeah.
To get away from crime, and you know he's like, oh shit, we gotta close the beach down. Well, apparently this island, like around 4th of July, it's a big season for them. It's like a big money season for them, and the mayor's like, no, we're not gonna close it down. We're not gonna close it down.
Well, here's the interesting thing, because it's not like that anymore. Obviously, it's like, you know, for the rich and elite or whatever, for the most part. But they chose Martha's Vineyard because they wanted a socioeconomic situation that would be lower class enough for the actual economy to be affected if the 4th of July didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it would just be a complete damper on their, all the money that they raise for the summer. It would just ruin their economy.
So, you know, there's this whole issue where, you know, he's trying to shut down the beach and the mayor's not having it. Well, he calls in a shark specialist, which is a very young Richard Dreyfuss.
Yes.
Now, mind you, that mofo was handsome when he was young. Okay?
Yeah, well, we should mention that too. There's a wrinkle that was taken out that Spielberg wanted out because, you know, he just couldn't see the camaraderie between the three if this actually had occurred. But in the book, Richard Dreyfuss's character, Matt Hooper, actually has a relationship with Ellen Brody, Steve Brody's wife.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad he took it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be horrible. So, you know, he's trying to help him shut down the beach, and, you know, Mayor's being a douche. He still wants to open up the beach for the 4th of July. And they do. And there's a scene where everybody sees a shark fin in the water and they freak out and they trample to get out of the water. Turns out it's 2 kids.
Yeah.
2 kids playing with a shark fin.
Yeah.
To scare everybody out. But in the shallow pool area, the actual shark is there.
Yeah.
And the sheriff's son, his older son, is there.
Yeah.
With a couple of kids on a boat, and there's a couple of people there. And you see the shark go up and attack this one guy and take him down.
Yeah.
And his son ends up going dead still in the water. He's like waiting dead still, and the shark passes by him.
Right.
Doesn't attack him, obviously, because he's not moving. And there's a scene where when that guy is being attacked, you actually see the leg falling in the water. Great prosthetic. Great effect. It looks absolutely real.
So after, like, you know, the all of Amity goes insane and they start hunting for this thing, it turns out that they catch a tiger shark.
It's not the great white that they thought they were going to get.
They're just like, we got the bastard.
Yeah, and then there's this one guy. He says, "I'll catch this shark for you. I'll kill it for you, but it's going to cost you $10,000, not 3."
This is where Quint comes in, and Quint.
He's a crazy fucker.
Quint is played by Robert Shaw. Great introduction. They're having a town meeting. He drags his nails across the chalkboard to get everybody's attention. And let me just keep this in mind for everybody. Robert Shaw, who was a very prominent English actor, playwright, he was drunk the entire time.
What? Like for real?
For real drunk.
Oh, that makes sense. 'Cause, like, wow.
Right. So the fact that, later on when he could actually do his bit for the USS Indianapolis and remember it on the first take, wow, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, he was sauced.
Really? I did not know that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy, when you think of pirate, you know what I mean? He would be like your drunken pirate that hunts sharks. Your shark hunter that's a drunken pirate. Anyways.
Well, this was like, this was a lot of it was taken from like, Melville and Moby Dick, the whole like Ahab thing, the old man in the sea, that kind of thing. And that's kind of what Spielberg wanted. Yeah. The other thing I should mention when it comes to this movie is that when Spielberg was actually directing it, God, it went way over budget. And, because he was actually a man who thought that he could contend with Mother Nature and, and get the shots that he wanted to make, at the proper times. And we would waited hours for one particular shot. People were getting sunburned and sick, and it was a bad deal.
I believe it.
To the point where Roy Scheider actually got called in for the sequel. And he said, fucking Mephistopheles himself could not have me do this movie.
Damn. Another death happens, and they realize, you got the
Kinder Boy.
Yeah, you got the wrong shark, and so immediately the 3 musketeers, that's what I'm gonna call them, the 3 amigos, get on the boat, and of course you got the shark guy who comes from a wealthy family, and then you got the pirate guy, the shark hunting pirate guy, and then you got sheriff who's deadly afraid of the water. He doesn't even want to go
so
on
that's
there.
an interesting thing. So with Hooper you have science, right? With Quint you have like some sort of like spirituality of the sea or whatever, and then you have
he's just a drunk punk that's always saying weird shit,
and then you have the common man.
Yeah. So they go out and it's they're going fishing.
Yeah.
And it's basically at this point it's like a cat and mouse kind of fight back and forth with the shark and the fisherman, where they're harpooning it and getting tagging a barrel to it, and then it's attacking the ship. Or the boat. It's like, I wouldn't even say it's a boat. It's a boat. And there's even that the one grade is like, we're gonna need a bigger boat.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
You're gonna need a bigger boat because it's a 25-foot great white.
We have to circle back a little bit. Back here a little bit. All right. So basically, like you said, they are shooting barrels at the shark. And then like, the John Williams score is like really whimsical. You see the, like the barrels, like on the top of the water. and they're just like, "Ooh, there he is, there he is, there he goes." You know what I mean?
Later on, they're actually sitting in the galley and they're eating and they're drinking, and they're sharing stories about their scars on their body, and all of a suddenly, you see here, ram, bam, bam, bam. The shark is literally like whacking itself against the ship, and so water starts coming on the ship, and then the guys get up there and they're like, okay, well, they get 2 more barrels attached to it. Actually, I think they get 3 barrels, so it can't. They're like, yeah, he can't go under. Well, it does go under, and then makes it to where like barrels are just like not attached to it anymore. The thing is literally chewing through the line.
Yeah.
They realize that like they're gonna have to do something, so they pull out the shark cage, and Mr. Scientist guy decides to go down in the water, and he has this shark dart that he fills with poison. And then he goes down there, and then of course, the shark starts ramming the cage, and he drops the dart, and he gets out of the cage and he hides.
Well, they come upon a fishing boat that was owned by a fisherman named Gardner or something.
That was earlier, yeah.
Yeah. So what happens here is he goes into the cage with it's full of strychnine, and the shark just basically just messes up the cage completely.
Oh my God, he gets out just in time.
In time, and then he actually finds Gardner's severed head. That's literally just kind of bobbing there by the remains of the boat. Yeah, underneath the water. Yeah.
So the shark get pissed off, and it throws itself. Mind you, in the meantime, the boat is taking water. Okay.
Let's talk about that scene where they're actually drinking underneath the, they're drinking, right? Mm-hmm. And this was actually they were all drunk.
I believe it. Their faces were red.
All were drunk. And I'll tell you why. Because they were waiting on a particular shot. Like Spielberg was waiting for the sun to set or something like that. Mm-hmm. So they're literally on the boat waiting for this one fucking shot. And they had nothing else to do except do pickups, and they got drunk. By the way, the main beer of this movie is Narragansett, which is from the Martha's Vineyard area.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it's super popular now because of this movie.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. Here's the swimming to bow-legged women. So anyway, Quint he details a story when he was on the USS Indianapolis, and the way the story goes is in World War II, there was actually a secret. There was a mission to get more uranium, where I think it was Little Boy, which was actually going to be, it was going to hit Hiroshima. So it was so secret that nobody actually knew that they were going out. So the battlecruiser went out. It got harpooned, basically torpedoed by a Japanese submarine, mm-hmm. and everybody went under. I think there was 1,100 men. 1,100 men went in, 300 some came out, mm-hmm. as he said. And basically they were just kind of flapping their arms and stuff, to try to fend these damn tiger sharks off. But guys were just picked off all the time. Yep. And he goes, I saw my friend Bernie Robinson, baseball player, upended like a top. And he said half his waist was bobbing in the water.
Yeah, severed from the waist down.
Yeah. And then he says, I'll never wear a life preserver ever again. And but we got the bomb. We made the bomb. We got it to him.
Yep.
And that's such a great scene because, like I said, he was stinking fucking drunk.
They were all stinking drunk. Back to where we're at in the most epic scene of the movie, where Jaws throws literally because the ship is is down in the water. Okay, it's like this pretty much. It goes up here and. You got
he was hitting the boat to knock out the engines.
Mm-hmm.
Clever boy.
Yeah. And so you got Sheriff, he's up in the cabin area, and he's trying to hold on to the captain, and can't hold on to him, and goes right into Jaws. Oh God.
Awesome.
So, as the boat's going down, he's trying to shoot at it. He's shooting harpoons at it. As far as he knows, he's by himself. And then what he ends up doing is he's in the cabin, and there's water being taken on, and Jaws goes in there and he throws an oxygen canister.
Yeah.
For a diving oxygen canister in his mouth. And then he has a shotgun, and he's like on top of the mast that's going under, and he has a shotgun and he's shooting at this thing.
Smile, you son of a bitch.
And he gets it.
Yep.
He gets it and explodes everywhere.
Explodes, yeah.
And then Mr. Shark guy, science rich guy, comes back up.
Yeah.
He comes back
And
up.
you swim to shore.
Mm-hmm. And they grab the two of the barrels and they swim back to shore.
So basically, like we said, this is a massive, massive hit in the 70s. Changed the game for movies.
It still holds
changed the game for production. Changed the game for release and everything you could possibly think of.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we had all the Jaws sequels. I think Jaws 2 is probably the most superior of the sequels. And then it just got to the point where it got so fucking stupid that Ellen Brody would go off to Jamaica, and then Jaws' son, I guess, would go and float all the way to Jamaica to get her, I guess. I don't know. It got really dumb. But this is what people fear to call a masterpiece. I think it's 5 across the board. I think it's one of the best movies ever made, no question.
So good.
And like Melody said, it still holds up. It still holds up.
It does. It holds up.
The thing is, like the whole thing about it is that it's just so gripping, even when nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And I think the
score is absolutely amazing in this movie.
Right, exactly. And the characters are so engaging. This, John Williams is known as like one of the most legendary composers alive today. He's still alive, believe it or not. But this, changed his career. I mean, Jaws, not only the score won an Oscar, they won a Grammy as well. It's just so effective and shows you what music can do for film.
Yeah.
Just like John Carpenter's Halloween didn't have a score, and it didn't fare very well.
Right.
So music is very much a very important component to this story. I don't think it would be as effective without that, without that dread.
Right. Thank you for joining us today. Please like, subscribe, hit the bells, do all the things, comment.
Yes.
We would love to hear what you want us to talk about next. What kind of genre do you want us to talk about? What movie in particular do you want us to talk about?
I already know what we're going to be talking about next. Because we were super excited about the transformation of a particular series into pretty much a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
Because the grabber is pretty much now Freddy Krueger.
Right.
In the Black Phone 2.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to talk about the original Black Phone, which is, I don't know, I think it's a damn good horror movie. What do you think?
Yeah, and it's a good movie.
Yeah.
The Black Phone is a very good movie.
Yeah. So ring us up next week. We will be back home at that point. Happy 50th anniversary, Jaws, Bruce, and the cast and crew, Spielberg, and everybody. And with that, we'll scare you later from Florida. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
I'll be home in the morning.
Where you going?
I'm staying over at Susie's tonight.
What's new? The flyer.
The papers call him the grabber.
I wish you wouldn't call him that.
You don't actually believe that story, do you? Because he can't hear you, and he doesn't really take kids that safe.
Oh, you goof. Well, isn't that just peachy keen?
You need some help?
You see that?
Yeah.
Would you hand me my hat? Yes, sir. I am a part-time magician.
Are those black balloons in there?
Would you like to see a magic trick?
What if I could help the police find Benny?
Doesn't work. Not since I was a kid.
I'll scream. I'll scratch your face.
This face?
Daddy, I had a dream about it.
What happened in your dream?
He was taken.
By a man with black balloons.
Yes.
We never released those details.
Hello?
Don't hang up.
Who are you?
You know all our names?
You're getting out of here.
Please let the dreams be real.
See the wall in front of you? I tore a long cable loose from down there.
There's a combination lock on the inside of the storm door.
What's the combination?
I carved it in the wall. The tree, the door, the gate. I'd never seen it before except in my dream. You don't have much time.
You're gonna use a weapon. You raise the phone, step back, and swing!
Look what you made me do.
Please hurry.
You remember what I told you?
There's someday I have to stand up for myself.
Someday,